Hi, Razor here. This is my Chaos Golem Mentalist. Taking it now from a mid investment to a high investment. At the moment, we're sitting at 5.8 million. I'm going to show you now when changing this with a bit more investment up to about 13.6 million DPS. On the starter video I made, we had about 1.2, 1.3 million DPS, and that was with mostly yellow gears, gems not leveled, and so on. So at this point at 5.8, most of my gems are leveled, and I've got my first cluster in. Now, at the end of the day, you want 3 of these clusters. I went to check in POB, and the 3 notables you want is Feasting Fiends, Rage and Pillage, and Vicious Bite. Now, you have to have Vicious Bite at the back to have these 2 in front, which is the only ones that's going to give you DPS in this build. All the other combinations is inferior to this. So try to find this. When I bought this first one, it was about 80, 85 C. I think it's down to about 60 C. So you can get 3 of them, and that would be your goal, is to have 3 of those clusters in. I'll show you now when I do the change. So I went on, basically took the curse here to drop Dudre's Damning Ring, and then just some more damage nodes and determination at the bottom here with the life, where it gives me reservation. Which I'm actually going to probably one of the first things I'm going to drop, because your scaling effect of your physical chaos golems, it means that you don't really need determination. I can show you there that even if I put it off, take it off there, we still have 83% phys damage reduction, so you don't need it. So what I'll do is I'll take determination off, and then you can activate envy. And also what I'll do is I'll swap this node for these 2 nodes here for extra reservation. Then you can comfortably do it, and that's what I did in the higher investment tree. So this one here now I've marked as default at 5.8. So I want to show you the changes. I upgraded to United the Dream here from the starter edition. Also got the Skin of the Lords and a Triad Grip with 3 white sockets. So 4 white sockets is about 2.5 divines. That I can buy it now, but I want to see if I can reach it myself. Then it's a bit cheaper. But that will be one of the upgrades also in that video. I did test the Covenant against the +2 Skin of the Lords, and I just feel the Skin of the Lords is just better. The Covenant gives you more flat energy shield, so you're going to have a higher energy shield pool. And especially if you maybe want to go CI. I had that idea at first, but at the moment I think I'm going to stick to hybrid. The Skin of the Lords actually gives more damage than the Covenant, especially because we want to use awakened skill gems, and it will also make it cheaper for us to use only a level 3, and then the Skin of the Lords bumps it to 5, and we get +1. So the next awakened gem I want is Awakened Void Manipulation, because if I get a level 3, it will bump it to 5, which gives me another +1, which I have in the end game tree. So starting the tree, like I said, pretty similar, just a couple of extra damage nodes and then block nodes here, so that we can get to a 64-75 block. On the skill gems, I did get a Divergent Withering Touch, which adds an extra stack of Wither that can be applied, which just gets your Wither up quicker. And then Anomalous Chance to Poison, which adds poison duration. Now my 2 and my actual build are level 19, I think. When I get it to level 20, I'll val it to try to get this 21. I just put it in here so that you can actually see the effect. So 5.8. So if we change it now here, the tree. So let's go to the in-game trees. In the skill, we go in-game setup, and then items, we go in-game as well. You'll see we at 13.6 million DPS. So on the tree, I now got 3 of these clusters. I'm showing level 100 here, not there, but it's level 100. I'll show you now how you can do it a bit lower. So basically the Anima Stone is in here with Primordial Eminence. What you want at the start is you want 2 harmonies and you want 2 eminence. That's a perfect balance at the start. DPS wise, you go 1 eminence, 1 harmony, 1 eminence, 1 harmony. After that, you just stack eminence. The attack speed eminence gives for poison, it's just way superior to the increased effect harmony gives to damage for your golems. So you from that point will just use eminence, and then of course an Anima Stone for extra golems. And then in the top cluster here, all 3 clusters are the same as I explained at the start. Top cluster here, we're going to go for Void Beacon. So we got the Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame in here. Now 2 reasons for that is Unnatural Strength, which gives us permanent something might. Always forget it. Unholy Might. So Unholy Might is very, very good. It is better than Void Beacon to have it up permanently, because basically bosses that don't spawn ads, you're not going to have it. So if you want to see, you can take Unholy Might off, and on bosses we're going to have 11.5 million DPS. But I mean, I think that's fine. But Void Beacon is also up permanently, and Void Beacon only costs like maybe 3 or 4 divines for the set. And it's permanent, minus 20 chaos resistance to all nearby enemies. And also 100% reduced life regeneration rate, which is great for anything Maven affects. And you know, if you have Void Beacon, basically that way she stops, the healing won't happen. You don't have to use a Frost Bomb or anything like that to stop the regeneration she gives the bosses when she comes into the fight. So yeah, and this one I decided not to go CI. Maybe later I'll decide, but I don't have an Aegis Aurora yet. Don't go this until you have an Aegis Aurora. So we still have the extra curse. Cluster jewel here is exactly the same with the 2 eminence jewels. On the skills, then obviously you want all your gems at 21. So I still got Molten Shell up there. Flesh Offering is very important. It gives a massive amount of damage. You can see 13.6 if we switch that off, 11.7. So just make sure you have this up. Stone Golem I use with Summon Phantasms. I put this on 9 because obviously you don't have all 11 out the whole time. You have like 5, 6 out, and you have to calculate as soon as you do the switch here and Stone Golems. You have to calculate what the Stone Golem damage is and then add it, because here it will only take into account Phantasms now. So Phantasm is about a little bit less than half of 1 Stone Golem, so I just added 2. So you might have about 5, 6 out, and then so about 9 is the average damage of a Stone Golem and about 5, maybe 6 Phantasms. That's why I did it like that, so to be as accurate as possible. Our curse setup stays the same, just level out up to 21, Temporal Chains and Despair. Chaos Golem, you want Awakened minion damage, and then you want it at least level 3, so you get advantage of the +1 to skill gems, and the same with Awakened Void Manipulation, which I don't have yet, but that's what you want, and you'll get another +1 there when it's level 3. Don't invest money in getting higher than 4. It doesn't actually scale. So because you got +2 on the chest, this is already level 6 and 6. So having that 5 or corrupted to 6, it's not worth the investment. It's barely a damage increase, so don't do it. Awakened Multi-Strike is also very, very expensive. I've got a 2120 or 2020 at the moment, normal Multi-Strike. So I have to save up because this is like, I think 16 divines or something like that. Also level 3 is the highest that you want to attain here, but this also gives a good damage increase. The Wither Totems, Convocation, that's the same. And then obviously I activated the Envy and dropped the Determination, and then in your weapon, the red slot, you then put in a Generosity, because Generosity increases the effect of that Envy. And you can see here 13.6, without it it's 13.3, so it's a good 364k DPS, you know, but it's worth a gem slot, I think, you know, that's fine. And then your Triad Grip, you want to get to up to 4 white sockets. You can buy a Verici where you pay about 50c a socket, or you can do it yourself. I'm trying to do it myself. If I don't get right and I've got money to waste, I'll just go buy it. It's about 2.4, 2.5 divines to buy a 4 white Triad. Skin of the Lords, just get a notable that doesn't break your bolts. Like I've got Precise Technique. Now I don't do damage myself, so that doesn't matter. Veri's Veil, still have it there. In the expensive version, yeah, I've got the Aegis Aurora, but you can just play it with your normal rare shield. I've got a rare shield here with energy shield, life, minion damage, resist, spell block, whatever, what's easy to you. At this one, I've got 75-68 block with Aegis Aurora, but you are capped at spell block if you can get a shield with some spell block on. Energy shield, slippers, amulet, +1 to chaos skill gems. That's something that wasn't in the starter one, so get something, yeah, maybe if you get dexterity. Important thing is here, like in my second ring, is you do want like dexterity and strength on places. So I've got dexterity on the amulet and here. That will free up you not having to spend points on your tree. Okay, so do try. You can see the second ring of mine is basically a stat stick. I've got 50 dexterity, strength, intelligence, nice amount of energy shield, 44, and life, you know, it's like 100 flat, and then 16 all resistance. So try to get something like that with stats and all resistance, and later when you have money, obviously you can make get something with minion damage, but the socket you might want. I've got Desecrate in there, but when you do get your 4th socket on your Triad Grip, you can actually go maybe for a Bone Ring if you want to, but you know, seeing that the golems summon themselves, it's not really needed, but you might get some minion damage or minion attack speed. That would be a lot of damage if you get it on there. And then I mean, this is a shit belt. It's like, okay, it's got 110 or 12 energy shield, but apart from that, not really anything life. Basically, I just wanted a ton of energy shield and life, and yeah. So yeah, I'll invest to get something better later. And then yeah, you can see with the jewels, those 3 last large rare clusters I talked about, and then you got two harmonies, and the rest are all anima stones, and then the forbidden flame and flesh. And that's it. On the calculation I'll show you, there's nothing funny ticked here on Holy Might, so you can, if you want to, take it off. On bosses that don't have ads, you've got 11.5 million damage. I think that's still very, very good. Flask are active. We have the one wither totem, so do use the wither totem, because otherwise you won't get this effect of wither on the enemies. So on your bosses and so on, you need the totem. It only needs to apply 1 stack, but as soon as it does, the enemy is counted as it was applied by you, so it will have the increased effect, and it's about 18% more damage. At the bottom, use a minion screw. We convocate the whole time, so we have that up, and it's basically these nodes here that gives us extra damage. Enemy is always ignited, and you ask how. It's because of this node, because Rage and Pillage, it gives extra damage per ignite, but it also explicitly says 6% of physical damage as extra fire damage for your minions, so they can ignite because of this. And then Triad Grip also has ignite chance. You will see Triad Grip also have shock chance, so if you can get some added shock on some corrupted jewel or some jewelry or armor piece, that would be great. And you don't actually have to flame dash to hit the enemy to get shock effect. I mean, so at the moment in bosses, I would get my buffs up, and I'll at least flame dash once into him every like 5 or 6 seconds, so he gets the shock effect on, because we are elementalist, we always shock, and the only hit I do is flame dash. Flame dash does hit, so it does apply that shock, and it has a minimum 15% shock. So bosses will always be shocked. They are chilled because of my flask, but chill doesn't do any damage, so that doesn't matter. And I think that's about that. I want to see if I can open a map here. So
when I'm ready and not
this is a T16 underground river map that's corrupted. I'm not going to put anything funny on it now. I just want to see if I can run through. And this is with my DPS at 5.7 million at the moment. Not the end game 13.5 million. But it's been doing very well. We'll just get the desecrate up. And I manually curse the enemies. And that's it. I'll leave the mirror for now. I don't want to make too long a video. To the boss. So every couple of seconds you can decide yourself how you want to do it. Flesh offering lasts about 9 or 10 seconds, so every now and then I'll just make sure it's still up, and if there's any yellows I curse them. And for the most part you don't take too much damage. I haven't died a lot in this build. I don't know what it would be. My recovery is pretty great, and having vampirism at the moment for recovery on the health also works very, very well. So I'll through there. And then when I'm the boss, you would see what I'll do is to make sure that the shock counters are actually flame dashed into them. So the ignite applies because the cluster jewel gives us 6% of physical damage as extra fire. So my golems are doing partly fire damage, so they can ignite. And there's also ignite and shock chance on Triad's Grip. But I don't have any flat lightning damage anyway. So what you can do is try to get a corruption on one of your eminence jewels that adds maybe flat lightning damage for your golems, or some other jewel if you have space to fit, and that would help doing it by itself. Whereas now on bosses I have to flame dash in him, because your elementalist, you can shock with any damage, but your minions actually can't. So you have to do it yourself at this stage. And yeah, as you can see, it's pretty comfortable. It's like most minion builds. The advantage of elementalist is just that you don't really care if your minions sometimes will die, because they just resummon. Let's pick that up. I'll do that a bit later. I'll run back to the map. And then the wither totem we put down because we want the wither effect from ourselves, so that increases the damage by another about 20%, because we're stacking wither effect on the tree as well. So that is why you actually do have the withered totem for bosses, or essence is basically a boss. Yeah, I know it's funny, but it's basically how it is. But you use the totem on bosses or tough enemies so that you can get that increase effect. It's around about 18% more damage around about there, so it's quite cool.
When I'm ready, I'm not.
What a map drop here. Little emergency there. Right. And dash through, let's get the effect up. And there the poison stack. You see, as soon as I can target him for a while, every time he disappears, it's unfortunately he cleans himself. But yeah, that's pretty T16. I must say this build, you see, I only have the 3 yet here. I've probably put in about 3, maybe 4 divines in the build. 5.7 million DPS, very easy. So now with the extra investment, when we get to that 13-14 million, bosses will be an absolute breeze. But thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.